Nope. Not even gonna pretend like I understood everything. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about the bleak hallucinogenic nightmare that is The Lighthouse. What this movie is about is two people going to operate a lighthouse in the late 1800s. One of them is a veteran, and the other one, it's his first time being out there. They're supposed to be going for a 4-week job, but then somehow they end up being there longer, and it shows us the toll that it takes on their minds. Now, I'll give a lot of credit where credit is due. The aspect ratio of this movie makes everything feel claustrophobic, as it should, especially when they're indoors. They are in this just very, I wouldn't say totally small enclosed space, but they don't have a lot of room to operate no matter where they're at indoors. And so the 4:3 aspect ratio definitely makes you feel claustrophobic. The black and white of the movie makes everything feel bleak. The sounds and silence of this movie makes everything feel maddening and bleak. And that's the entire point. Just the way these two act, unless they are drunk, they are not in very good moods the entire time. So you get this entire movie that just feels like depression, and that is kind of the point, because when the weird stuff starts to happen, it definitely snaps you out of the bleakness, but then enters you into madness. Where I will give credit, a lot of credit where credit is due, is that Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, especially Dafoe, who will probably get some props come award season. Pattinson did a very good job too, but Dafoe is definitely the standout performer in this movie out of the two of them. Again, they both did a great job. But what you have here is two amazing performances just taking you through this journey of madness. Now, I'm probably going to have to get into a bit of spoiler territory, because from what I understand, the trailers don't really give you much. So whatever I say could be considered a spoiler. I will say this. While movies like this aren't really for me, I can totally appreciate movies like this. I'm not going to call this... I may consider this one of the best movies of the year, but I wouldn't call it one of my favorites. These types of movies, these, deep dive movies that have all sorts of symbolism and things like that, like art house movies, while I can appreciate them and I can, point out why I think they are great, they're just not for me. So while I do highly recommend this movie, it's not going to be for everyone. And when this movie was over, I was glad I saw it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. That's just me. Some people might get a ton out of this movie, and I've seen some theory videos and things, because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I may not have caught all the symbolism. I think I know what's going on in the movie, and I will talk about that here and again. There will be spoilers, but there may be some other symbolism or connections that I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be smart. I've seen some videos out there that they probably are smart, and I've seen some other videos that are pretending to be smart, and they were copying the other videos, and they want to just act like they knew what was going on. I'm going to admit, I'm going to tell you what I thought was going on throughout this movie, and I don't pretend that I understand everything. And if you do, please feel free to comment in the section below. Just put a nice space there as to not spoil it for others that don't want to have it spoiled. So what I think is happening in this movie is, see, over the first 4 weeks, that's how not a lot out. Maybe, I wouldn't even say half the movie is the first 4 weeks, maybe half. I wasn't looking at my watch. But the first 4 weeks just kind of go by. You can tell that Willem Dafoe's character has done this way too many times, and you can tell that he's probably, if he isn't going mad, he is already there. But that's how what we notice through Robert Pattinson's character. He sees Willem Dafoe's character, who won't let Willem Dafoe's character will not let Robert Pattinson up to the light of the lighthouse. Even though they're supposed to take turns, he makes Robert Pattinson's character do all the crap work, where he goes up there and mans the light, and he says, "It's my light, it's my light." And he almost makes the light feel like it's something supernatural. So this whole time, Robert Pattinson's character is wondering what's going on up there. Willem Dafoe's character leaves it locked when he's not up there, and he has the only key. And Robert Pattinson's character just keeps wondering what's up there. Also, I have to note that Robert Pattinson's character will not drink on the job over the first 4 weeks. Willem Dafoe's character keeps trying to get him to drink, but he won't. And he says, "Trust me, it's the only way you're going to be able to deal with this job. If you don't, and you need to start drinking," and Robert Pattinson's character won't do it. The real problems don't start until the last night, where Willem Dafoe they kept some lobsters as kind of a, last meal, last night on the island type meal. And then Robert Pattinson's character finally drinks with him. And this is where I'm going to start getting into really spoilery territory, so you've been warned. Okay, Robert Pattinson's character wakes up, thinks he's been out a day. Willem Dafoe's character tells him he's been out for like 3 weeks, and that he keeps saying, "This is my, we're leaving today," and all this, and he's only been out a day. So you begin to wonder, is Robert Pattinson's character going mad? Or is Willem Dafoe's character messing with him? And you wonder this for a while. And for me, the conclusion was both. Willem Dafoe's character is already mad, and he is trying to drive Robert Pattinson's character mad too. So over the course of we don't know how long, they're drinking every night. At times they love each other, at times they hate each other. Heck, there's times you think that they're going to have sex together, because, they've been alone. And there is times where Robert Pattinson's character, he found this statue, this little mini statue of a mermaid, and he uses it for, as basically a Playboy for himself, because they didn't exist back then as far as I know. And that he uses that as reference to do things to himself. But they start having hallucinations, and Robert Pattinson's character starts seeing things, and then they really start getting mad when they run out of booze, because they kind of make their own booze. I believe it was they mixed honey with fuel for the lighthouse and drank it. I couldn't tell from what I understood, they were drinking it. They could have just been sniffing it. I've heard other reviewers say they were just sniffing it. I swore they were drinking it. But anyway, that's why they mixed it with the honey. But things start really going nuts, because at least we know it's Robert Pattinson's character, because he's really the main character. He starts seeing where, like on the beach, he finds a mermaid, and he starts seeing just all sorts of weird stuff. And it gets to a point where he feels he needs to escape, but Willem Dafoe's character keeps him on the island. They have one small boat, but Willem Dafoe destroys it. And basically, big time spoiler, it ends up with Robert Pattinson killing Willem Dafoe with an axe. And finally, Robert Pattinson gets the key, and he is going to go up to the lighthouse and to see how magical the lighthouse really is. He gets up there, and I won't say what he finds, but he ends up falling, and then the last thing we see is a little disturbing. And I don't want to spoil that either. It's just kind of gross. I do want to go back a little bit, and they talk about like bad omens, like bad sea omens, where one of the bad omens is don't kill a seabird. And there is this whole thing where the birds seem to be messing with Robert Pattinson's character. They get in his way. There's a scene where one is basically laughing at him. And it's, of course, plays into Robert Pattinson's character's madness. So there's things like that, and Robert Pattinson does end up killing one of the seabirds, and of course, Willem Dafoe sees that as that's bad. So again, this movie, I really liked it, but it's still not my kind of movie. It's not one that I want to go back and analyze more. I got what I got out of it, but I could see others getting a lot out of this movie. And again, there's probably references I didn't see, and that's okay. I got what I got out of it, and I would recommend it, but it's not going to be for everybody. If you're going to see it in the theater, because just seeing it, the weird aspect ratio, big and loud, the sounds of this movie, that horn would drive anybody nuts, and it drove me nuts when they used it. I can't imagine doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And just there's times that the movie used silence to great advantage and different sounds, and the movie is probably one of the better movies of this year, but again, it's not my kind of movie. So it's really hard for me to recommend it to everyone. I'm not going to say everybody must see this movie. I'm just going to say that it is one of the better movies of the year, but not everyone will get something out of it. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and you have anything to say about the Lighthouse, again, put some spaces down there to keep it as spoiler-free as possible for those that don't want to be spoiled. But please feel free to leave a comment about it in the section below. Until next time, I'm your Lighthouse keeper, the Real Geno. See you later.